What if the wicked queen was not born wicked, but patiently trained to fear a child? In a palace ruled by whispers, an ancient black mirror waits behind a locked door, offering truth while quietly feeding on dread. Welcome to Lingotales, where we will live the story and learn the language. A towering dark mirror framed in silver vines hangs behind a locked black door in the kingdom's oldest tower. No servant dares to polish its surface because the glass reflects more than rooms. It reveals secrets, fears, and the future a soul most dreads. Kings and queens once trusted it, and each left diminished. A young queen in elegant court dress enters the palace while watchful nobles measure her every gesture. She comes from a smaller winter kingdom, where hunger taught restraint and every smile required judgment. The court praises her dark hair, pale hands, red lips, and flawless stillness, yet each compliment feels like another weight. Snow White walks through a palace corridor while guards, servants, and old dogs soften around her. She is still a child, pale as winter clouds, with midnight hair and berry-red lips. The queen does not hate her then. She pities the lonely princess and sends warm cloaks, honey cakes, and careful kindness. Courtiers murmur behind painted fans as the queen passes through a bright palace hall. They compare her to the dead queen, polished beauty to effortless grace, winter to spring. The queen tells herself Snow White is only a child. Still, their words follow her through corridors, closed doors, and every listening silence. The queen stands dry-eyed beside the king's coffin, while Snow White weeps beneath black banners. Bells tremble across the mourning kingdom, and the court studies every breath she takes. Because the queen remains composed, they call her heartless. After the funeral, she governs until Snow White comes of age, and every decision becomes evidence. On a rainy night, the queen holds a shaking candle before the dark mirror in the old tower. The black door has opened, though it should remain sealed. In the glass, her exhausted reflection smiles without her. A silk-soft voice insists the court lies, Snow White will erase her, and fear is merely wisdom. The mirror shows Snow White wearing a crown while the queen's portrait is carried from the hall. Night after night, the queen returns with questions about plots, letters, and smiling nobles. Some answers prove true, others almost true. Those are worse, because a clean lie can be rejected, but a half-truth grows roots. Snow White sings in the chapel as candle flames seem to lean toward her voice. She is older now, luminous in a way the whole kingdom notices. In the market, people reach for her cloak as if blessing passed through cloth. The queen feels not simple jealousy, but dread, because love can become rebellion. The queen stands before the darkened mirror and asks who is fairest in the kingdom. The answer wounds her with ceremonial calm. She is fair, but Snow White is fairer. Then the mirror deepens the fear, claiming old magic lives in Snow White's heart, pure enough to break curses and open sealed doors. In the mirror's vision, Snow White presses her hand to the glass as darkness pours toward her chest. The silver frame twists like living branches. The queen cries out, but the mirror whispers that the future can still be prevented. It needs only Snow White's heart. Horrified by herself, the queen refuses and flees. The pale queen summons a huntsman and speaks urgently beside a cold palace window. She cannot truly command Snow White's death, so she orders him to take the princess deep beyond the old road where the mirror cannot find her. The huntsman sees terror disguised as authority and mistakes it for jealous cruelty. In a foggy pine forest, the huntsman raises a knife behind trusting Snow White. She asks why the queen has sent her away, but he cannot answer without exposing his own shame. His hand shakes until she sees the blade. She does not scream. Her sorrow breaks him, and he begs her to run. Snow White reaches a small cottage beneath 7 ancient oaks after fleeing through the dark forest. Branches have scratched her arms, and stones have cut her feet. Inside live 7 miners, short in stature and hardened by mountain labor. They give her bread, soup, and a bed near the fire, then warn her against strangers. The queen strikes the tower mirror with a heavy candlestick as red light spreads across the glass. It has revealed Snow White alive in the forest, and now the queen understands the deeper lie. The mirror itself is the danger, a hungry thing between worlds, needing a pure, beloved heart to invite it through. At the cottage window, an old woman offers Snow White a red apple through the mist. The miners are gone, the fire is low, and Snow White remembers their warning. The woman says the apple is a gift from a mother who is sorry. That single word opens the wound. Snow White has guarded for years. Snow White bites the red apple as the old woman's face shimmers like dark glass. The poisoned piece lodges in her throat and the world slips away. Her heart slows, her body falls, and the false woman smiles. The mirror no longer needs the queen. It has learned her shape and come alone. The real queen bursts into the cottage and strikes the mirror shard in the false woman's hand. Snow White lies still, caught between life and death, while the creature speaks in the queen's own voice and promises beauty, power, and safety forever. The queen sees the child, she failed, breaks the shard, and black dust rises. Snow White gasps on the cottage floor as the queen gathers her into her arms. The apple comes free from her throat and breath returns in one painful rush. When the 7 miners arrive with tools raised, Snow White lifts a weak hand. Between life and death, she has seen the mirror's lies. Snow White, the queen, and the 7 miners climb the tower stairs before the watching court. Behind the black door, the cracked mirror still waits. It shows nobles' power, servants' revenge, miners' gold, and Snow White, her dead mother, reaching from the glass. The queen catches her hand before grief can pull her closer. In the palace courtyard at sunrise, Snow White and the queen raise hammers over the screaming mirror. Servants bring ropes and iron bars, and the miners help drag it into clear morning light. Together, they strike again and again. The mirror breaks into 1,000 pieces, each showing a different lie, before sunlight leaves only glass. Years later, Snow White and the former queen sit quietly by the library fire as snow falls outside. Snow White has changed the songs, refusing stories that blame beauty or age alone. The old queen remains as witness, repairing what fear broke. Trust returns slowly, not as easy fairy tale love, but as something harder, chosen, and alive. The mirror was shattered, but its warning remained. Fear becomes dangerous when it calls itself truth, and courage may begin by turning away. You can find the learning materials for this story, along with many more stories, on our website at lingotales.app. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with others. And if Lingotales is helpful for your learning journey, consider subscribing so you can stay connected with our latest videos. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.